Three young men laughed among themselves when they saw the driver's age as they got into the taxi. Old model car, old model driver, they mocked. Yet only 20 minutes later, those same young men would be on their knees, attempting to kiss the hands of that old man. But let's go back to the beginning of the story. It was 9 p.m. Traffic in Chicago was as heavy as ever. Frank was a 58-year-old taxi driver, slightly hunched, his hair graying. Deep lines etched his face, not from time, but from pain. For 23 years, he'd been driving the same yellow taxi, quietly doing his job. That evening, three young men hopped in from downtown. University students in expensive clothes, fiddling with brand-new smartphones. Frank glanced at them in the rearview mirror. Tiredness in his eyes, yet politely he asked, "Where to, gentlemen?" "Just drive. We'll handle the navigation," said one Jake. His friends laughed. "Old people don't know technology," said Marcus. "They seem stuck in the 1980s. Tyler took it even further. "Is this taxi a museum piece, sir? The AC doesn't work, and the seats smell weird." Frank said nothing. He'd heard these words before. He simply smiled and kept driving, hands gripping the wheel with decades of experience as he navigated the traffic. "I don't get why this guy still works," Jake went on. "He should have retired ages ago." The traffic crawled on, and the young men chatted among themselves about university life, plans, dreams. Frank listened in silence. He had once been like them, young, hopeful, filled with dreams for the future. How long do you think these taxis will last before they're replaced? Wish we called Uber. And do they at least get paid? Frank's eyes drifted to the rearview mirror. These kids didn't know life's harsh truths yet. They hadn't truly lost anyone. Just then, something happened in front of them. A red Honda from the left lane lost control while braking hard. It first smashed into the central barrier. A metallic screech echoed through the night. Sparks flew. The car lifted into the air, then slammed down onto its side. It flipped once, twice. The windows shattered, glass scattering across the road. Crash. And then, a horrifying stillness. The moment time stood still. Jake screamed, "Oh, my God, there's been a crash." The car lay upside down. The engine was still running, sputtering. A dark liquid oozed out from underneath. The stench of oil and gasoline filled the air, a dangerous blend. Frank swerved to the side and stopped. Other drivers slowed, but didn't stop. Everyone focused on their own business. The young men were panicked. "Let's call someone," stuttered Tyler. "Call 112. Jake fumbled for his phone. "Is it going to explode?" Marcus trembled. "What do we do? Someone might be dead." Then came a voice from the overturned car. "Help? Help? Please." A weak, female voice full of pain. Someone was inside and still alive. But Frank had already exited the vehicle. Wiping his hands on his pants, he took a deep breath. And in that moment, he returned 25 years earlier to the mountains of Afghanistan. Gunfire, explosions, the days he rescued his people. Muscle memory, body memory. His hands moved instinctively. The voice from the wreck came again. "Please, help. It hurts so much." Smoke rose from the engine. The smell worsened. The driver's side window was completely shattered. Inside, a young woman, about 25 to 30, was hanging upside down, trapped by the seatbelt, wedged among glass shards. She tried to push her left hand out through the window, but couldn't, likely broken. Blood dripped from her forehead and head, hair matted with it. She struggled to open her eyes, searching for help. "Someone help?" she whispered. The young men were frozen, completely at a loss. Frank ran toward the wreck. His steps were firm, his posture changed. The 58-year-old taxi driver was gone. Another man stood in his place. "Sir, stop. It's dangerous." Marcus yelled. "The car might explode. Don't get close. Get back." Tyler added, "Let's wait for the police." But Frank only heard one voice. Never leave a friend behind. Never. A mantra from his military days. A guiding life principle. When he got to the car, he assessed the situation with professional calm. The woman hung upside down, the seatbelt pinning her chest. She struggled to breathe. Every breath was a fight. The engine was still running. There was a high risk of fire. Frank knelt down, carefully peering through the broken glass, avoiding the shards. Ma'am, can you hear me? My name is Frank. She tried to open her eyes. Help me. I can't breathe. It hurts so much. Stay calm. I'm going to get you out. Don't move. Let me check your neck and spine. Frank gently felt for her pulse, at her neck, where it was safe. It was weak but regular. A good sign, but that seatbelt was choking her. The young men had gotten out of the car and watched from a distance. What should I do, sir? Jake asked, no longer mocking but respectful. Hold her head and don't move it gently. You too, Marcus, Frank said. Call the ambulance right now. Say there's a conscious female patient with temporal artery injury, possible spine injury. Location, Chicago, 5th Street. Marcus stared, awestruck as he dialed. This man's calm professionalism. His command, he felt like he was dealing with someone else. Tyler, check around. Anyone else injured? Traffic? Keep an eye on everything. Frank took a clean handkerchief from his pocket and applied pressure to the wound. Pressure point, bleeding stopped. That's good, he muttered. Those young men had never heard such terms. How did this ordinary taxi driver know them? 3 minutes later, the wail of an ambulance pierced the night. Firefighters and police followed shortly after. Frank remained steady, methodically carrying out his duty. When medics loaded her onto a stretcher, Frank briefed them. Female patient, 28 years old, conscious for 6 minutes, but in shock. Temporal artery lesion, controlled with pressure. Pulse 78, weak but regular. Immobilized neck. Likely fracture in left arm. Pupils reactive. Normal. The young paramedic stared at Frank in disbelief. Are you a doctor? Frank smiled softly. I was a different kind of doctor once. The ambulance drove away. Frank washed his hands, steady, unshaken. After it departed, the 3 young men looked at him in silence. This old model taxi driver had just saved a life with skill and composure. Sir, Jake's voice trembled. Who are you, really? Frank, rinsing his hands, replied calmly. I'm a taxi driver, son, for 23 years. But what you did, your knowledge, your experience, Marcus began. Tyler interrupted. You're not an ordinary person. Frank paused. A long silence. Sadness flickered in his eyes. Then, gently, 25 years ago, I was your age. 19 when I joined the Army. The Special Forces. Combat medic, as we say. I served 3 tours in Afghanistan and 2 in Iraq. The young men held their breath. I spent 5 years in war zones saving my brothers. 43 wounded soldiers. Not a single one I lost. Not one. His voice cracked. But then, he paused, looking off into the distance. What happened next? Jake whispered. In the last operation, an IED exploded, an improvised explosive device. My teammate Daniel, he was 22. I couldn't save him. Silence, broken only by distant traffic. After that, I retired. PTSD, post-traumatic stress. I tried to rebuild my life. Became a taxi driver. I wanted quiet peace. Jake's eyes welled up. Sir, how could we ever? It's all right, children, Frank gently interrupted. You're young. Life hasn't taught you yet. That's natural. But we were so disrespectful, Marcus admitted. We looked down on you. I'm not mad. Just a little sad. But I've become used to it. Tyler stood. Then Marcus. Then Jake. And in that moment, all 3 bowed respectfully before this 58-year-old hero. You are a true hero, said Tyler. No, Frank replied. I only did my job. Then now, let's get you home. But none of them were the same anymore. That night, they learned that real heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they drive yellow taxis and quietly serve for years. The ride home was silent, but this time it was filled with respect.